Happy Wonder Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to our Floxies Community live show. Like every Wednesday, we like to come here and host what we like to call our Wonder Wednesdays. And so today, I'm starting straight from our Gather Town, which is where we host where we have our virtual office. As you can see here, right now you're live into our library where we share resources, and here's our classrooms where we host some Webflow design lessons. And if this is your first time here, we're a free global community for women in UX, UI design, and Webflow development. And we like to invite expert speakers from the field to come and teach the community every week. And obviously, we're active in our Discords 24/7, and we have a lot going on, any other day of the week. So very exciting, a little bit bittersweet for today's event as it will be our last one of this fantastic series that we've had with Lizzie. And so I'm not going to tell you too much. I'm going to just go straight into our auditorium and start from there. This one here is our co-working space. Every Monday we host co-working hours in here. Awesome, awesome. And just like magic, it's great to be back in the room and see more people joining our auditorium. So, Lizzie, welcome back into our Floxies community. Wonder Wednesday. It's great to have you here. I was just
Hey.
I was just telling the audience how bittersweet today's event is going to be for us a little bit because it's the last one of this fantastic series that we've had with you. And but I also know that it won't be the last time that we collaborate and we interact and we get to learn from you. So really appreciate having you back. So would you like to just give us a quick recap of everything that we've been working on and what are we going to be doing today for our last but not least beautiful event?
Yeah. It is going to be bittersweet. And what a wild ride it's been these last 3 weeks. So maybe I'll just do a little recap on what we've looked at so that if you haven't been here, you get major FOMO and just have to go back and watch the other episodes. Um, So we're all about designing our own portfolios, but this isn't not just like an ordinary how-to on you like put this here, put that there. We're thinking a bit more holistically about kind of basically what I wish someone had told me when I was putting my portfolio together of slowing down, de-stressing um, the whole process, and I guess enjoying it, being strategic about it, rooting decisions in concepts rather than um, flailing around for ideas or like feeling some sense of external judgment and that blocking our creativity. So we have looked at defining our vision and our values, really going back to the core of who we are as designers and what kind of designers we want to be, the kind of characteristics we want to express through our portfolios. And I guess within that, then also the kind of people we want to draw to us. So the kinds of clients we want, the kind of people we want to collaborate with. So that was in week one. Then we looked at, oh no, I've forgotten what it was in the second one.
It was creating mood boards.
Yeah, that's what it was. Um, and before we got to the mood boarding section, we were thinking about that link between our verbal articulation of our vision and values and the sort of the visualization of that and coming up with visual keywords to springboard us into making mood boards and also coming up with a concept that all our design decisions are then rooted in and spring from. And then we looked at creating wireframes and a lot about strategic content planning. So what do we put into our portfolios? What do we leave out of our portfolios? And how do we make that decision? And we started thinking about our audience and our ideal audience, and then also our passions and what we want to communicate. And so then finally, this week, we can bring all of that together and start thinking about how we're actually going to design our portfolios. So we're going to open up Figma, and we're going to put in our mood boards, put in all of the stuff that we've worked on already, put in our wireframes, and then I'm going to create a new page called Designs. or UI, or however you label your pages in Figma. But in absolute true style, as the way this series has been evolving, I'm not going to be giving you practical everyday tips on how to use Figma, or I'm not going to tell you how you set up your Figma file, but I'm going to talk about things basically as it's always been throughout this whole thing. I'm just talking to myself, basically. So
No,
I'm
you're
really
not.
sorry that I'm sorry if everyone's like, oh, I was hoping actually for something a little bit more applicable to my situation. But the thing that I really want to talk about today, and in fact, let me just share my screen
For
and some
sure.
links. So here we go. I'm on the affirmationfoundry.co. Oh, yeah, let's look at today's affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, Affirmation Foundry is all about inspiring women in design specifically, and sort of combating that negative self-talk that can come up, or feelings of inadequacy, through a weekly affirmation that we can meditate on and think about. So as you just have a little look at this affirmation, I find joy in the process of creation. Like you should just relax your shoulders a little bit, unclench your jaw if you're feeling like you're sitting here like to learn Figma, and then yeah, just take a nice deep breath. Put your feet on the floor if you're able. Feel a bit grounded.
Smoothen your wrinkles.
Smooth your wrinkles. Release the tension in your temples. I went to choir practice last night, and at the start we always do a warm up, and that is the moment I suddenly feel connected again to like reality, because like just sort of like moving your arms, making some weird noises out your mouth always feels good. Um, so yeah, let's just get a little bit grounded and just like, I don't know. So I find joy in the process of creation. I chose this affirmation because thinking about actually sitting down to create, I don't know about anyone else, but I can sometimes feel overwhelmingly stressed, and all of the joy is sucked out of the process because I'm suddenly doubting every single decision I'm making. So I just want this to be a little reminder that we love design. That's what we
We
love
do.
doing. It's so good. We
Who
get to
loves
do.
design in here? Give us some love in the emoji. There you go. Emma loves it. Nikki loves it. Delia, everyone loves it.
We do. We love it. And we find joy in it. And that's why we do it. And let's not forget that, especially not today as we're thinking about designing our own portfolios, which, again, I keep coming back to this, but for me, it's one of the most stressful things to design. And I think it's because the brief is coming from you. It's usually a high stakes situation. Maybe you're applying for a job, or you want, I don't know, to progress in your career. So you don't necessarily have the same external brief that you would get from a client. So a lot of I guess the stress can come in to those areas. There's lots of areas that stress can arrive when we're doing our own portfolios. Okay, so we're heading over to resources. We're going down to part 4. You can go and pick up the other parts as well if you haven't yet. Click on designing your portfolio. Again, it's completely free, so you can put in 0. You can also put in more money if you want, but do not feel any pressure to buy it at all. And then click I want this, and then there'll be instructions on downloading or duplicating a template into your own Notion so that you can look at it. But I'm going to walk through the template, so you don't have to do it right now if that is like mega distracting. And we're going to look at getting started, thinking about experimentation and creating iterations. And then we're going to be looking at getting unstuck and also pushing our creativity beyond maybe the usual patterns that maybe we are used to and maybe revert to because of this, again, this sort of feeling like a portfolio is your high stakes situation. And then I just got a bunch of tips and resources, which technically probably could have been in the other two, but I needed 3 in a row for it to like match all of the other templates. So we've got tips and resources there, which I think can keep expanding. And also because you're duplicating this into your own Notion, you can use that area and just add bunches of stuff if you like.
Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
encourage everyone to be just as to come and interact with us as much as possible, because this is your chance, your 60 minutes to come and learn with us and to get as much value as you can from these sort of events. And so whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, Facebook as well, do interact with our community. And if you're here in the gather, if you're part of this amazing community, then you're already great at interacting, because I know that every week is absolutely fantastic to have you all here. But I would still encourage you to do ask as many questions as possible. Do get out of your comfort zone if necessary, and just get out of your shell, because Lizzie is absolutely fantastic, and you're in a safe, supportive environment here. That's my 2 bits.
It's so true. This is such a supportive environment. This is the perfect environment to share. Okay, then. Well, let's have a look at getting started initially. Now, here's an affirmation for you as you open your Figma file or create your Figma file. I am free to create without judgment. Why have I written that affirmation there? Well, this is what I find when I open up a Figma file. And in fact, just to prove like how much this is written exactly for me, while I was putting these resources together and creating these examples, I was absolutely plagued, riddled with doubt, and my inner critic, which I'm just talking about here, was literally going on overdrive. It was literally being like, oh my goodness, you can't even design an example. What? You can't even, like, you're supposed to be delivering this to a group of designers and you can't actually do it yourself. Who even are you? That is literally what my inner critic was saying. So, and I've battled with this throughout my career. And what I want to be able to say to everyone is, let's acknowledge it and name it. Let's just say, okay, this happens to a lot of people most of the time, especially when we're creating something that makes you feel vulnerable, which I think putting something out like your portfolio is really vulnerable because you're putting something out of yourself. And let's label it. Let's assess what it's saying. Is it actually sensible? Is it a constructive thought or is it just critical? In my case today, it was very critical, nothing constructive. It was just blocking. And so it was really helpful for me to be able to say, no, that's actually really unhelpful. Can you go away now, please? And then let's talk back to the inner critic and be saying things like, listen, mate, I'm not looking for perfection right now. I'm actually just coming up with ideas. So you need to zip it. Or actually, this is part of the design process. I am a designer by doing this. Yeah. And to be honest, mate, I call him mate. I don't know why. It literally doesn't matter if these designs aren't award winning because they are my initial ideas. They don't need to be good. This is literally what they are. And I am a strong and passionate designer. I tell you that for free. And getting started is actually really fun. This is one of the best bits of the process because you don't know where it's going to go. And that's really exciting. So all of you who have duplicated this Notion template, I would like you to add as many things as you think would be helpful, or perhaps if anyone would like to share anything that they do say to their inner critic, that would be amazing. And maybe also give me some encouragement. I'm not the only one who experiences this.
I did create a meme from Game of Thrones for our community. From I don't know how many people here watched it, but long story short, what do we say to imposter syndrome or our critic designer here? Not today. And so I often share that in our community, and that's what I keep telling myself. Or sometimes, it gets so bad that I just have to remove myself from the situation or from the place where I am. So go out for a walk, clear your mind, do some drawing, do some singing, anything that would help getting rid of that.
Yeah,
I have
really
a comment.
helpful. Yeah,
I
Emma.
It's more in relation to that person who doesn't want to do stuff or is like a wet blanket. I have a friend who, for example, she was using working out as an example, and she calls that inner voice her inner grandma because the grandma doesn't want to go to the gym. The grandma doesn't want to get sweaty. And she said, like, it's okay, grandma, just let's go to the front door. Let's just put the shoes on. Yeah, right now, let's just put the shoes on. Right? Lovely. Great job. And now let's put the coat on. She treats that voice like it's an inner grandmother. Like it just needs gentle guidance. I love that.
That's so helpful. Yeah. What persona is our inner sad little scared designer? Because they're just scared, aren't they? They're scared to put themselves out there. So yeah, you'd be like, this is actually really fun. Come on, let's do it. Don't be scared. All right. So we can start with exploring an idea without any pressure. And for that, I go out of Figma and use pencil and paper.com or my iPad to actually sketch stuff with my hands. I found that really helpful to just play with the basic shapes and the layouts, use it like a playground. No mistakes, only stepping stones to interesting ideas. And I just popped in a really rough example of some ideas that I was working out. And I've drawn in a bit of a grid there. And I'm going to talk about the grid a little bit later. This is my personal process that I actually find using a grid right in the ideas stage actually really helps me as I go further through. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. So starting with low stakes sketching, I cannot express how important doing something like this is, whatever your version of sketching is. Sometimes when I'm teaching at the beginning of the course, we're like 100% always on the students about thumbnailing. And then towards the end of the course, we encourage them to be a bit more self-directed. It's so interesting seeing the ones that continue with the process and continue with the thumbnailing. They're always the ones that are excelling in the end, and their portfolios stand out above the others. So it's part of my process, but also I've seen it with my own eyes that the ones who do this are the ones who excel. Then with your basic thumbnails, what I usually do is I draw them out on the iPad usually, and I just send them off to the computer, and in they go, and then I pop them into Figma, and I literally just start by designing out those thumbnails. And for me, that takes off the whole pressure of like thinking up a design idea in Figma, which I find super helpful. And then it's all about iterating. If you're changing something, duplicate your frame and iterate it. And then you can keep track of your progress. But also what I quite like about it is, and I'll give an example again from teaching, is that sometimes a student will have an idea, burning idea that they really want to do. And they'll design it out and then just work on that one design and just be tweaking it and moving things around for the whole day or however long we're working on it. And what that means is they're already closing off avenues for other ideas. So by iterating the page and moving on to another idea and another idea, so focusing on this quantity over quality initially, is that it actually can open up way more ideas. So when I look at a student's Figma file and they've only got one frame, I'm like, no. But if they've got like 40 frames, I'm like, yeah. So highly, highly recommend getting your duplicating. So I spent about half an hour trying to design up those thumbnails that I did there. And I was just like, pow, pow, duplicate. Every single time I made a change, duplicate it. And this is when my inner critic was like, I can't believe I'm actually going to show these in real life, that kind of thing. But that's it. That's what I did. That's what I went through. And I had no idea, where it was going to go. you can see there were quite a few changes and switcheroos and all sorts. And each one of these could be a springboard to an idea. And I think that's what's nice about that process of constantly iterating. And yeah, that was about half an hour, 45 minutes worth of work. So that's like, bam, 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 speed.
Is this
At that
something that
initial
you
stage.
keep to reference back, because sometimes I hear people in our community being like, I can't believe, looking back at their designs or mood boards from weeks, months, years ago, and they're like, I can't believe that's something that I designed. It's so awful. And then what I often say to them is like, well, but look at the journey, look at the progress that you've made, look where you are today. And I remember one of your affirmations actually from a few weeks back was like, we're our best designer of today. So we need to always think about the skills and the mindsets and just the inspiration we have today. And that wouldn't necessarily be the same in a week or so. And that's part of, the whole journey.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it's also like, I would kind of like this affirmation at the top, I'm free to create without judgment. I really feel like that with this early stage, this getting started stage, you cannot assess whether it's good design or not at this stage. It's all about, does it fit the concept? Is it expressing my keywords? That is the answer. That is the question. So it's like redefining your measure of success at this stage.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good sentence, wasn't it? Redefining your measure of success. You're not creating award-winning designs at this stage. You're expressing your concept and your keywords. And that is what you're trying to do. Which very nicely takes on to the next point, which is refer to your mood boards and your concept. So you might want to bring your mood boards into the Figma file. If I got it open, let's see if I've got Figma open. I can show you the file.
Yeah, it'd be good to see how you went from lesson 1 to lesson 4 if you have that progression.
Don't mind, we have progression.
Oh, meanwhile, I see more people joining us here. Hi, everyone. Awesome.
This Figma file is basically just got all my bits and bobs of all from both the Affirmation Foundry and this series. So I've got the mood boards in right there, with the concept and the keywords. So you can see that big old chunky hug typeface. Once I actually started using it, I was like, ugh, looks really weird. So that's another thing. When you've got ideas and then you actually try doing them, you can feel so sad that they don't quite work the way you want them to. There's the colors and then sort of UI elements. And you can see actually at one point here, I needed to see my keywords twice, obviously. So it's like they weren't close enough there. I needed to bring them down to really to be reminded of them more. Yeah, so thumbnails in. I think if I was doing this for real, I'd probably have maybe quadruple the amount of thumbnails. And also I'd probably have mood boards from lots of, and I was saying about mood boarding separately for different areas. I'd have probably mood boarded out a bunch of different things as well. Which here, so what I'm saying is you can write your concept and keywords on a post-it note, stick it to your screen so you can have it front and center all the time. So your decisions are rooted in those things, not in, oh, is this good or not? And also you might want to bring mood boards in. You might also realize you need another mood board for another design issue that you're like, I need to like really problem solve this little bit. So it's just whip up another little quick mood board. It doesn't have to be formal, can just be just a bunch of inspiration. I think something similar is in, I think this one, ideas page. No? Oh yeah. I was like, oh, quick, I just need a quick idea. Or like, oh yeah, this is my equivalent of a quick mood board, It's just like, oh, I just need a bunch of bits, you know. But you can kind of see how it all has informed the Affirmation Foundry website, where you can feel it, even though it doesn't look exactly the same. You can see bits of it have arrived in there.
Yeah.
That would be like an ad hoc mood board, just out of nowhere. Yeah. Oh, okay. I've seen in the chat that some people have popped in some things about the inner critic. And there's a whole, Lucy saying there's a whole therapy system based on identifying the inner figures and talking to them. So interesting. And it's called Internal Family System. And the anxious baby designer or the rash inner critics are definitely part of the inner family. They're definitely part of mine. I've got some further reading here from Brené Brown, who is my guiding saint.
Guiding light. Yeah.
Guiding light in all things. Got a really nice YouTube video from her. It's about 20 minutes long, well worth a watch. And there's also I love seeing how other designers do things. So this is just a Medium article from Amy Dutton, who's a senior designer. And it just talks about her process. And there's lots of things that are similar to what I do. Some of them are different. And I absolutely love just seeing how other designers do it, because you're like, ooh, I'll take that. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. So yeah, so that's in there as well. Anything more to say on getting started? Would anyone like to share any of their processes for getting started? Or shall we move to the next one, which is getting unstuck?
Yeah, let's see. Is there anyone here who would like to share, or should we move on to getting unstuck? Lucy, was there a thumb up to moving on? Yep.
Lucy has spoken.
Lucy has spoken. Well, if you do want to share anything at some point, we would love to see, you know, what you've been working on these past couple of weeks. So let us know in the chat. We're not gonna call out any names unless you want us to.
Shall I reshare the screen so we haven't got a big one as well? Oh, sorry, I'll just close it. Okay. We mentioned that before about what to do when you're in a bit of a funk. And taking a break, like you said, Claudia, just getting into a different space. I think also getting feedback is super helpful, can really push any design forward. Looking at more inspiration, going back to thumbnailing again. I sometimes even just the process of getting out the iPad and opening up the thing to make a thumbnail, I've got the idea straight away. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I know what to do. Even just like, it's like it just dislodges something in your brain. Collaboration. I cannot stress how fundamentally collaboration can help. Even on the smallest thing. Like I was working on a little logo design this week. It's literally just one of my charities I'm working with. They've restructured and changed the name of their department, so they just need to change the name in the logo. It's like not a redesign at all, but I just needed to bounce ideas. So I actually got anyway. It's too long a story to explain right now, but the long and short of it is I collaborated with another designer and she did amazing work on it. I was so inspired by the way she worked on it, and even though it was just a really simple challenge, then we were just able to really bounce ideas off each other, and it was just really invigorating. So even on the simplest task, you know, it can just boost the whole process. And obviously this community has many brilliant designers, and I'm sure many collaborations have already come out. Anyway, we already know that. Okay, collaboration, taking time out to do a little bit of meditation, exercising, getting new stimuli, going to a gallery, new inputs, new like a challenge or a constraint, like, okay, do it again, but just with 2 colors. Do it again, but see how many items you can remove, that kind of thing. And changing the environment, setting up the computer in the other room, sitting on the floor in the kitchen, putting your feet up on the sofa and going upside down, that kind of thing.
Walking on the treadmill like Lucy's doing right now. Anything that helps keep you focused and inspired.
So, I find going to the library really helps, because there's literally, it's so quiet in there. And I just, if I've got like a long thing to do, or like something that's got like repetitive actions, I will just go to the library. It's amazing. I get my best work done there. Okay, here's an exercise that to add to the mix of exploring, like, because this is what I was thinking about. It's like, what would I need? And what I need is like not just to get unstuck, but also to make a better design, to feel like I'm actually learning something as well. So going back to those design principles, if anyone went to design school or has gone on a design course, you'll probably have covered at some point a list of design principles that will look very similar to the ones that I've listed here. There might be a few more, or there might be a few less, or it might be condensed down to just 3, like order, simplicity, and contrast, which I think is a really nice 3. But essentially, you're going to have a bunch of these principles like alignment, hierarchy, contrast, balance through tension, and symmetrical balance, repetition and proximity, how close things are to each other. And a really great exercise that you can do is choose a layout that you're working on, pick a design principle. You could write them on bits of paper and stick your hand in a bucket, and then redesign the layout with a real laser focus, emphasizing just that one design principle that you've chosen. It's so fun. I'm not even joking. It's the most fun thing. So, for example, you might focus on contrast and turn up the volume of one thing and massively turn down the volume of another. Instantly, you've got an idea. And like all of these ideas may not lead to anything, but they may do. And that is the exciting thing. But what's really great about it is it's super rooted in the design principles, and then can sharpen your eye for seeing the design principles in action, how they work together, and it's super fun. I'm not joking, it is really fun. Maybe if we've got time at the end, we could do like a live example.
We can try it. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Great. All right then. Well, I think we are going to have time at the end, which is really great. So some tips and resources. Yeah, so I mentioned about using a grid. I found this amazing resource on Figma, this 8-point grid. I don't know what everyone's preferences for grids are, but I love this one. I'm not even joking. Let me see if I can, where is it in design examples, show you the grid. You're going to love this. If you like grids, you're going to love this grid. I'm not even joking. Let's duplicate that, delete everything off there. Let's not get distracted. And look at this. Isn't that lovely? It's beautiful. 12-column grid, 8 points.
I'm amazed at how excited we can get about simple things like this. Look at this beautiful empty page with with a bunch of columns, and everything is nicely laid out in an 8-point grid. Isn't that amazing?
It is good, isn't it? Thanks, Claudia, for your completely non-sarcastic.
No, but it's so true. Like we are, anyone from the outside world, or I take a lot of pride. I use like 4 points or 8 points. Like I'm obsessed with those multiples. And whenever, even if I'm designing a thumbnail for our events here that I have to just put on YouTube, I'm always like, okay, 4, 32, 16, 24. And I'm like, I wonder if anyone is ever going to notice this, but I don't care because I love it so much. And so, no, I'm all in, I love a good organized grid. And it's so important for responsiveness as well. Like when you're delivering your design to a developer, it's so important for responsiveness as well.
Yeah, super, super helpful. And yeah, when I'm thinking about the grid, so the grid really excites me because it opens up so many more design opportunities. and you can really maximize the design principles through the grid. So the obvious one is alignment, but some other non-obvious ones that you can really get out in the grid, which is really exciting, is hierarchy, and just using like column widths to create hierarchy and to differentiate different types of content, and also I think you can really emphasize contrast using the grid as well. So again, this is just my process, and I like to start with a nice 12-column grid that aligns perfectly, so that I'm not mucking about setting up a grid and trying to decide, what color it's going to be and things like that. So having it there already, for me, opens up so much more freedom in the design. Obviously, everyone has a different process, blah, 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 blah. But I thought I'd share that resource because it's just a really nice one. Another thing I would say is to check your color contrast as you go. And you can see actually that I was doing it in just here. You can see these little squares are me using my Stark Figma plugin, which I've shared a link to, just to check the contrast. So you can see it is failing. So I'm like, okay, good to know. Definitely good to see that at the start of the process rather than handing over to the client and realizing that none of your colors are actually accessible. So that actually led to then the design iteration of like changing the colors a bit, making sure that we do actually have good accessibility. So that one works. So you can see then that the design can be pushed in a more of a direction. I would say that is also a way of getting unstuck as well, is making design decisions based on accessibility as well. So I linked that in there as well, the plugin. There are a bunch of different ones that you can use as well. I would say keep upskilling in Figma. This is the reason why I didn't do any like actually how-tos in Figma, is because there's just so much stuff out there. You can keep on upskilling as a tool user, what's that? A craftsperson. But there's kind of like, I would say that it speeds up your process when you understand how to use auto layout or like a bunch of different shortcuts on the keyboard that can just speed up your process and help you get unstuck.
And staying up to date as well, because when I started now 3-4 years ago using Figma, it's definitely not the way that it looks today for somebody who's picking up the tool today. Same thing with Webflow. You started a while back, and now for new users everything is like changed. Or whenever I see people sharing things in our community, I'm like, hey, that's new to me. So you always need to be up to speed, or like keep staying updated with all the new releases and things, because you don't want to become like me and be like, oh no, I need to catch up.
Yeah, but also don't let that put you off.
Mm.
And don't feel like you have to be you have to know it all before you can start.
True.
Yeah. Start first and then learn it as you go along. Designing community. Big tip, massive resource. And watch other designers, see what they do. And I don't know, are they still doing the Reelu and Rumble?
I don't think so, because Josh is now doing the Webflow streams, right? Shout out to both our friends, Reloom and Josh. I'm not sure. Also, they used to do them on TikTok, and I'm not a TikTok user yet.
Yeah.
But maybe there's an opportunity for anyone else who would like to start something like that, something similar.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good. I used to love watching that, just seeing people with Figma open doing stuff, because it sometimes feels so mysterious, especially if you're on your own just working away, but actually see someone else in Figma doing a thing, and you're just like, looks
There
so
you go.
magical.
Lizzie, I still hadn't given you anything to work on today, so
Oh
here,
right, yeah, okay.
here's a
It's
new
like my homework.
here's a new project for you. You can pick that up
Thanks.
again.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so watch designers design, and you can do that in community, or you can do that on YouTube, anywhere. It's all over the place, but it's there. It's an amazing resource. yeah, so that's what I've got to share with you today. So getting
Amazing.
started, getting stuck, getting unstuck, and getting some resources. Um, there's obviously loads of things I could have put in there, but that was as far as I
That was
got.
the juicy bit. But I think this is also great because it gives us enough time to try your exercise live, which will be fun. And
Yeah.
also to really gather all our thoughts from, our past 3 events, now 4, like this. What have you been learning in these 4 weeks? Is there anything that Lizzie can help you with today, or anything that you would like to share? It's great that we have this time to interact with the community. But should we do the exercise first, and then we can open
Yeah,
the
okay.
Q&A? Yeah.
Does everyone have a thing that's in their Figma maybe they can open up? Or does someone want to send me their Figma file and I'll do it on their file? Or should I just do it on my own one?
Whatever you think it's easier for people to follow. And we can
Well,
also,
you've got to do, you can't just follow what I'm doing, you've got to do it with your own layout,
yeah.
definitely.
Maybe start from scratch, and we can follow. We can open our Figmas and follow along, and then we can all design our own thing.
Okay.
So give us some direction on, are we using a frame? Are you using a shape? What are we using? I'm
So
just
you're
looking at
using,
an empty page right now.
so open up a layout that you've already worked on that maybe is okay. Yeah, maybe it's okay. That's the criteria.
Okay, so it has to be a design that we already worked on. Okay.
Already got a design, yeah. Already got something.
Mm-hmm.
You want to push it. Maybe you're a bit stuck with it. Or maybe you're just like, okay, let's experiment with it. Why not? What have you got to lose? So yeah, just choose a frame. Just maybe stick it on a new page. In fact, let me share my whole window again so I can do it too.
Yeah, it'd be good to see your Figma as well. Watch you do it.
Entire screen. Screen
And
to
let's
share.
give it maybe like 5 minutes so we got enough time.
Yeah. Oh, and then we've got to show. We've got to share what we've done now. So, everyone picked a layout. I know you've all got one. And then pick a design principle. Ooh, so many goodies. I'm going to pick balance through tension because it's my favorite design principle. I know you can't have favorites when it comes to principles, but I just went ahead and did it. Balance through tension. And just a little reminder about what balance through tension is.
Mm-hmm.
Say we've got a little balancy thing. What are they called? Scales. You've got the thingy in the middle, and if you've got like two things that are the same, that's like they're balanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be symmetrical balance. You've got exactly the same on one side and the other. But what if you had this one was actually like really big? And in order to then balance it, you would then need to move that one in. Oh no, it's the other way around, isn't it? You need to move that one in and that one on the end to get that balance. It's physics, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's balanced, but you've got this serious amount of tension because obviously if that just goes that way, the whole thing is going to tip over. Whoa! Which for me is just literally my favorite thing because you're literally got two things that are opposite. You've got balance and you've got tension, and yet it's still balanced, but it's tension. That's why I love
Yeah.
it. Does
Yeah,
that
I
make
see
sense?
that. I see that. I,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that applies to your design.
Okay. Let's do it then. So I'm going to pick a layout. I'm going to pick the where I got to down here. It's going to create a new page, stick it on a new one. My keywords are, let's get them. I'll just get the mood board. because we are, even in these experiments, we're still rooted in our keywords, warm, fizzy, and structured. So I still want to keep an element of structure, but I also want it to be fizzy. I'm seeing is like that contrast word. The warmth can maybe come through the imagery, but the fizziness can come through, I know, this sense of like tension in it. All right, has everyone got their layouts open? Everyone picked their design principle?
I have. Yep.
Yeah, Ashley's ready to go.
Lucy, 100%. Awesome. Yep.
Okay. This is so exciting. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to think about bringing tension into this layout. I'm going to play with scale. I'm going to think, oh, so to get the tension, I think I'm going to need to offset something.
Mm. Music in the background.
Oh, yeah, I should mute so you don't hear my clicking.
No, that's that's what do they call it? I can't never remember the acronym. Let me see if I have some.
ASMR.
ASMR, yeah, exactly.
When I start doing that heavy breathing, you know that.
Oh yeah, or I can choose something here. I find it quite soothing whenever we often do co-working in our gather, and sometimes it's like me and Lucy, and we forget to put the music on, and I just listen to her clicking or me typing, and I don't know, that's quite soothing. But I'm weird. We all know that. Got some lo-fi. Here we go.
What's our time limit? How long are we going for?
3 more minutes.
3 more minutes again.
I guess that is time up.
Whoa. Okay, how'd everyone get on? Which design principle did you choose?
I went for contrast, but mine
Yeah.
still needs some good work on it. So I think mine one from the past was better than the one I just did now. So I'm gonna delete it.
No, Claudia, that is literally going against every single thing that we just said about this.
I know.
It's not about creating an award-winning design. It's about getting ideas out and trying something.
True,
Because you
true,
never
true.
know what it will lead to. So this is what I got. This is tense, isn't it? This is a tense layout.
Mm.
Actually, I think it is a little bit too balanced, actually, because this is like, if I was going to get real tension, I'd probably need to really, I don't know, bring this into a really weird place.
Put it on the corner of the affirmation fund, right? Yeah. Or a bit, yeah, overlap.
Yeah, that's pretty tense, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm feeling tense right now. Actually, on there. And also, as I was doing it, I was like, too many items. I just instantly had to like remove the menu that I was working with. So it's made it like into a completely unusable layout. But you know, I'm quite enjoying it actually. I'm thinking about my keywords, which are warm, fizzy, and structured. We've definitely got the structure. I'm hoping that the warmth will come through with the colours that come in these thumbnails. And then the fizziness, it's a very unusual layout, it has to be said. Like, I don't think I've seen very many websites that just leave the key area completely blank. But yeah, I think it will be an interesting thing to move forward with.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I mean, mine is nowhere.
I would love to see yours. Yeah, don't mind me stop sharing.
Don't know. Meh. Obviously, everyone who's in our community knows my struggle with redesigning our community page. Oh, but I actually don't know if I can share my screen because I'm sharing it on the live stream. I don't know. This is very inception-y right now. I'm sharing so many
Ooh.
things. So I don't know what people in the live stream will see, but I was just looking into what we currently have and like how to kind of like work with contrast. And I was just going for a chalky black and white hand-drawn style that I still haven't explored, but I don't mind the illustration too much. I need to fix here, of course, but yeah, just like that was my exploration.
Well done. Love it.
All right, stop sharing.
If you were my student, I'd be like, let me see a mood board, let me see a concept, let me see keywords, but obviously.
No. Yeah, yeah. Lucy's happy to share.
I mean, happy, maybe it was the wrong word, but I'm happy to help you out.
Willing, yes.
I'm willing, let's say that.
Take one for the cause.
Let me see. Or can I? Yeah, okay. So this was what I started with, and I went with alignment. The keywords are a bit all over the place, but number 1 is like intense, exuberant. Number 2, artistic. Number 3, playful, wacky. And so this is a bit more aligned, and actually I rather like it. So that like now this one.
Sharing your screen because I can't see it.
I am. It's telling me that I am sharing it. Am I not?
I can't see it.
You can? Okay.
No.
Oh.
No, I can't.
So yeah, I changed the spacing in here and the alignment a little bit as well. Like this, somehow I hadn't aligned these two. It's like, why?
Could you try resharing, Lucy?
Yeah, we can't see the screen.
Okay. Can I? Yeah, the full screen. I'll do that.
Oh yeah, we can see your full thing now. Yep.
Okay. So this was what I started with. And so I worked with alignment was the word I chose, and so this is what I ended with. So I removed the little silly thing on the side. Now this one is aligned here, this one is aligned as well. I feel like it's more intentional somehow. And I had a thing going on elsewhere on the site where I sort of have this line on the bottom, like the text with the border of the images. So I tried to re-implement it here. I'm not sure it works fantastically, but yeah, that was the little thing.
Nice. I love how applying a design principle actually led to simplification. And I think I really enjoy it when that happens, where you're just like, oh yeah, in order to do that, I actually just need to remove a whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And again, this doesn't have to be the last time that we work on these resources. Absolutely. Actually, this is just the beginning of, our next journey on designing for good and designing for our inner designer as well. And how do we nurture that creativity and inspiration using these fantastic resources that Lizzie has been sharing with us for the past 4 weeks. So excited to, have them next to our heart, next to our screens, and we can keep on using them. And Lizzie, maybe we can keep on showing you our work in our discords. I would like to now spend a couple minutes. Well, we have 1 minute, but maybe stay for an extra 5 for Q&A. If anyone here would like to ask anything, or just like share their appreciation for the beautiful, amazing founder slash educator slash senior designer that Lizzie is. We have 5 minutes to do so. If you would like to share something, please raise your hand. You can see at the bottom next to your emojis, there's a white hand. You can press that. We'll call out your name and you can share away. And I can see Ashley also shared something. So I'm going to copy that and put it into our Discord for feedback after, unless you wanted to open it up, Lizzie, but it's up to you. What else do we have? Yeah, audio messed up. No worries, Ashley. We will look into that. We will look into that on Discord. I'm just gonna pop it here in our feedback channel from Lizzie's session today. Ashley. All right. No questions. Let me see if we got any here in the forum.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you, Lizzie. I think for all of us here, it has been fantastically inspiring and warming to see you walk us through these fantastic resources. And yeah, I can't wait to go back to them and to the recordings as well, because I mean, so many things to sort of rehear and remember and rewrite down.
Thanks, Lucy.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you're very right, Lucy. I'm sure we speak on behalf of the whole community here at Floxies. Lizzie, this has been absolutely fantastic. Everyone absolutely loved all the events and the lessons that we've had. In fact, we kept on talking, throughout the week, and during our co-working hours, we were always like, oh, let me go back and tackle that exercise, or let me review that lesson. So absolutely loved this series with you, and you're just an amazing educator, and we're very grateful for the time that you spend preparing this for us and being here every week.
It's been a real pleasure, and I literally cannot wait for what's next.
I know. So next week actually, I was just looking into. We have just a break of an event, meaning that we're not moving straight into the Webflow series with Alessia, which will come next. But we also have an event with Karen next week, which will be about, let me just get that, streamlining your UX projects for your portfolio. And so it would be a nice follow up to what we've been discussing for the past 4 weeks. And after that, on what are we, May 22nd, we will start our Webflow series with our other Floxy educator, Alessia Sanazzaro. You might have seen her, you must have seen her in the Webflow global community, because she's absolutely smashing it this year with all her videos and tutorials and tricks. So I cannot wait for her series to get started as well. And just to have this powerhouse here, like Lizzie and Alessia together, is incredible. To have them both in our community and teaching us, couldn't have wished for better people to guide us and lead us. So that's absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to it. I do see a question before we say goodbye. If you were to summarize everything from all 4 lives into one, what would be the key takeaways we should all have? Good question to wrap everything up.
Very good question. What would be the key takeaways? Good question. My mind is going to all so many different things. I kind of want to say something about authenticity, vision, passion, joy. It's like coming back to why we wanted to be a designer. And it's like batting away the distractions, coming back to the heart of why we're here, what we're doing, and enjoying it and being ourselves and being part of a community. I'm really like summarizing it by actually saying a really long thing, but it's like, I think those that's the kind of thing I want to say. It's not just about making good designs in Figma. It's about being a better version, being the best version of yourself, and showing up in a way that's authentic to you and that brings you joy and that it brings a holistic, brilliant balance to your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I would actually throw that ball back at the community. What are your takeaways out of these 4 lessons? What have you learned? What do you think you can describe these lessons as? And let us know, just let me know in the community, because I know that we're at time. We need to let Lizzie go, but I'm sure she would love to hear as much as she would appreciate all these comments here in the chat that I'm seeing. Thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge, Lizzie. Looking forward to the next event. Thank you, Lizzie, for encouraging us all to take the time to review our brands or create a new one, take things back to basics and go on the path of least resistance when we lean into what comes naturally to us. Really, really great comments. Thank you very much, Lizzie. So lots of love back at you. And Lizzie, thank you so much one more time from me as well. You know how much I appreciate having you here and just in my inner circle. So thank you so much for that. Looking forward to our next collaboration, and I wish you all the best in all your endeavors and your business and everything that you wish to be. I know that you have it in you to get it. So, yeah, couldn't be happier for what's coming next.
Yay! Right back at you, Claudia.
All right. And for everyone here in our beautiful community, I will see you all on Monday for our focus hour here in our Gather. We have new exciting initiatives coming on thanks to our ambassadors at Floxies. We have some study groups forming. So do stay in touch. Do check out the Discord, because that's where the magic happens. And if not, I will see you next Wednesday. Goodbye, everyone. Take care.